Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast. My name is Mompoloki Lerumo Mogobe. Our objective is to enthuse, inspire, energize, and empower entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs of all stripes here in BW and beyond. We do so by inviting these entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs into our makeshift studio. Sometimes we call them to the restaurant, sometimes we go to our studio, and we ask them to share their experiential knowledge, their experiences and their expertise. And we ask them as many questions as we can, aimed at empowering you also as a viewer. Hello, dear viewer, dear listener. Welcome to Mogobe Nuggets of Wisdom podcast, another exciting installment episode full of interesting wisdom and things, information that will take you somewhere. We always try to bring impactful and life-changing information. And please, before we go any further, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. My guest is Nollie Moeng is going to talk to us about Avo, right? Avo tree, and also about Nkhata Bay collections, and then the food catering business. We have another serial entrepreneur, ladies and gentlemen. So this is going to be very, very exciting. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Sai.
Just get them to know you. Tell them who you are, and share on a little bit about your background.
Okay. My name is Nollie Ngwira Moeng. I'm 32 years old. I'm a businesswoman. I have a degree in environmental science and public administration, but I never got to find a job. So that's when I started a company called Nostalgia and Cloth. We started selling pre-loved clothing and
Pre-what?
Loved clothing, clothes, second-hand clothes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I started.
I like the way you put it, pre-loved.
So for a very long time, I was selling clothes. I think I finished school in 2012. So from 2013 until 2019, I was selling clothes. That was the main thing that I was doing. But there was something that I was really passionate about. I loved cooking. I just didn't know how to get into it. But I finally found the light, and I launched the Avo Tree Good Food and Catering. And after the
Avo Tree Food?
The Avo Tree Good Food and Catering. Yes. And after
P2 Ltd.
Yes. And after a while, I started NKATHA Bay collection. I'm a mom of two beautiful boys. I'm married to a very amazing husband. And I want to know how you gravitated towards food. What cultivated your interest in the food business? Growing up, my mom owned a tech shop. So she made magwinya, serobe, all those things. She cooked, but still selling groceries. And that's when I started. She started teaching me how to make magwinya. That's the first thing that I learned, even though I knew how to make motoho, rice and other things. But she started teaching me how to make magwinya and other things that people enjoy while working in the streets. So we started that, and after 2-3 years, she opened a liquor restaurant. And that's where I was in senior school.
Right here in Gaps?
No, in Ramuto, in Tau. There's a small village after Ramuto called Tau. That's where my parents are. Tau. Yes. Okay. So they opened, her and my dad opened a liquor restaurant. So that's when I was a full-time cook. But at the time I was at senior school, so after school I'll rush to the restaurant and cook your fries, rations, and all those things, and then later around 10 or 11 p.m. go home. So I've enjoyed cooking since then, but I did not start a business or do anything about cooking. I just enjoyed watching her cook. I didn't know I know how to cook this much. So that's how.
And did you? What about academically and professionally background?
I went to University of Batswana and got a degree in environmental science and public administration.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
At first I wanted to do law, but life happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, do we really know much about healthy eating here in Botswana? I mean, I know that back in the day, when we used to have bole tabula, when we used to eat really good traditional food. But what do you think now? Are we in touch with our food?
I will say Batswana know about healthy eating. Right now, I don't know if I'll say they're not practicing it, or I'll say tota hela, healthy eating is not easy. Even for me, I struggled to get into this life. I was a junk person. I knew how to make junk food perfectly, so it was hard for me to get into this. So even for someone who's been eating junk for a very long time, and then after 45 years they try to go on to healthy eating, it's not easy. They do know, but they're just not doing it. But I'll say most Batswana are going back to where we used to be, because my business is here because of Batswana and them reaching out and asking for the products that I sell.
Some dietitian was jokingly saying that Batswana are SAD, which stands for Standard American Diet, meaning that we have adopted the Standard American Diet too much, that we've become SAD in terms of our eating habits. What's your thought? What are your thoughts?
I don't want to say yes, and I don't even want to say no. But when I started, I had so much fear that my business will not be successful, because everybody was into making the regular junk food and our everyday food. In the market there is Batswana cuisine, people who make those, who cook that, and then there was the American diets. So people gravitated towards that more than they did to me. It took so much for people to warm up to my idea and start knowing about, asking questions about it. So to a certain extent, I'll agree with him, because I struggled.
Yeah. What is Avotri? Just explain the name, where you got it from, and what is behind it.
Growing up, my aunt used to work at some posh place just behind State House. I don't know if it's Extension 12 or I'm not sure, but it's somewhere around
behind
there.
the State House.
Yes. So where she worked as a helper, there was this huge avocado tree. At the time, I only knew avocados from the shop. I had never seen them in a tree somewhere there. So that was my first experience with avocados. So I'll go there and just sit under it, and they'll start falling off. And then there was a time when I started opening them up and trying to eat them without seasoning. And I don't know if you
I've eaten avocado, yes.
Yeah, and people feel
Tasted
avocado
it.
tastes like Vaseline or something. But for some strange reason, Yes, I started enjoying eating them without seasoning them, and it was my first experience because I was a small girl. So when I named my company the Avotri, there's a certain feeling or a certain experience that I wanted people to experience when eating my food. I think every time when getting into the kitchen, I'll go back to that feeling that I had as a little girl eating that avocado from the tree, straight from the tree.
Yeah.
So I've always wanted people to experience authentic food, clean eating, and still be happy. I don't remember people being happy just eating greens. So I wanted people to have an experience with my food. That is why I decided to name it the avocado. The Avotri, not the avocado. People call it the avocado, but it's the Avotri.
Avotri. And of course, it's a catering business. Yes. How do you actually run it? How do you do the catering?
At first when I launched the Avo Tree, my then boyfriend, who's now my husband, got me a mobile trailer. So I'll drive around town with the mobile trailer and just cook bogobe, jwale rots, seswa, morogo, or just rice with your 7-color kind of food. But at first, when I started, I think the first few weeks, I started trying to make people eat healthy on that trailer, but they refused. And because at the time I wasn't confident enough in myself, I decided to agree to what they wanted. So
what did you give them which they rejected?
Salads, green salads, healthy food like your quinoas, your couscous, and those things. I didn't include rice unless it was brown rice in my menus. I didn't include papa. I didn't include bogobe was there, but not too much. Yeah, I tried to make it healthy.
So they would just ignore you. They would pass to other
They'll
vendors.
tell me they really. I parked my trailer in front of some university. I won't mention it. So I parked it there, and they literally told me that, you know what, here we don't eat that. So I was afraid and I was disappointed because I think I for 2 or 3 weeks I'll go back home with food. So I think because there's something about running a business and believing in yourself. You know, I did not believe in myself too much, so I struggled when it came to that. But as soon as I decided that, okay, fine, let me just do what they want. Let me cook bogobe, rice, the everyday food. But I still added a few dishes like your stir fry with a lot of veggies, and that made a huge difference because now they started to see my vision. And after a year, I closed up the trailer and then sold it. And then I decided to start selling healthy food because this time I had gained more confidence and started believing in myself more. I gained thick skin, you know. I was like, you know what, whether they buy or they don't, it's okay. I'm going to go on with this business idea because I think it's brilliant. I believed in myself now. So I started selling healthy food from home. I operated from home.
Why did you sell the trailer?
I got pregnant, so it was heavier for me to operate it because every morning I'll have to drive it to town, then go back home with it. I didn't want to leave it on the street, so I'll go back to it. So it was a little bit hard for me to go on
so
with
just
it.
The temporary.
And I did not trust to give it to someone and run it, so I decided to just sell it. And then I started selling from home, and then this time I started selling healthy food.
Describe your typical cuisine when you say healthy food.
Every day we have a different menu at the Avo Tree. I come up with menus, I develop the menus. So every day we'll have maybe quinoa, vegetable roast, chicken, or not even chicken, because most of my clients, strange enough, they do not eat meat. So I'll just have salads and grains and legumes sometimes. So there are certain things that I use that I don't use. There is certain cooking oil that I use and others I don't use because of health reasons. And most of my clients are older people who are diabetic, who have high blood and wants to just change to a healthy diet. So it was easier for me to cook for them because I knew what they had to eat. I'll take them through everything, through the process. What are your allergies? I don't cook for you if I don't know your allergies or if I don't know what kind of food you are into. Yeah.
So are you a dietitian of sorts?
No.
Okay, so how do you acquire skills even to know how to look out for allergies? I'm sure you've really thrown yourself into this industry.
Yeah, I think because I read a lot and I'm a very spiritual person. I never cook when I feel down spiritually, but when I feel good, I'll cook. So my business sometimes, I know this is not sustainable, but there were days when I had to close down because I wasn't feeling my best. So I believe food heals.
Okay.
Whether we want to believe it or not, food heals. And with me, I only cook healing food. Yeah.
Well, when you say that, I'm reminded of, I don't know whether it was Hippocrates who said, let your food be your medicine and let your medicine be your food.
Yeah.
How are you, what do you think of this phrase, and how are you practicing it in your business?
Like I've been saying, my food heals.
Yeah.
I really believe that when I cook for you, you'll see a change. My dad is diabetic. My mom has high blood. So my mom, I changed my mom's diet. She changed from eating a lot of starch to eating the food that I cook. And I'm happy to say that my mom is not on any tablets, on any medication of high blood. And my dad is partly on medication. I'm not saying people should leave their meds.
Well, I'm saying they should. Once they've eaten your food for long enough.
Yeah, but my mom is a really good looking woman for her age, and my dad is still very active. So I draw a lot of confidence from my parents about what I do, because it has healed them. Even for friends, you're sad, you're going through a lot, you're depressed or what, I'll start cooking for you and trying to help you get through your depression, get through your life. That's not easy. So I really believe that food is medicine, and you should really treat your food like medicine.
I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and we have a thing called START, which is really the health message, which was originally passed on from Sister Ellen White. Are you familiar with this? The Adventist.
I have 7 Adventist friends, so yes.
Yes. So we believe very much in the health message. So help us preach it, because really you are preaching the health message. You could even give examples beyond your mom where eating healthy or eating a plant-based diet had the desired results that you're looking for, that people are looking for.
Yes, I'll use myself an example here. I struggled with mental illness for a very long time. I struggled with depression, anxiety for a very long time. So when I decided to change my diet, that's when things turned around for me. I'm a little lighter. I'm happy because of the food that I eat. I think about everything that I want to consume. So I've really changed my life myself.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was on depression. I was on medication for depression. So I stopped the medication, even though it wasn't easy to stop it. But I ended up not taking the medication and healing myself with food and other natural remedies.
Yes. Okay. Now you've mentioned, your the cuisine for the day. You've mentioned some days. Why the variety? I think you should speak more about why you found it prudent to offer different meals on different dates.
To tell you the truth, it's not easy eating healthy. Like there are days when I want palechian siswa. And with me, if I go back to eating palechian siswa, I eat it, but not all the time. But if I decide that tomorrow I'm going to go back to eating palechian siswa, then I'll say no. I'll go back to, maybe tomorrow I'll go back to my healthy eating. It doesn't work for me. It's a lifestyle for me. So every single day I want my food to be exciting. So every single day I come up with a dish that will brighten up my day from breakfast until supper.
And is it largely plant-based?
Yes, it's largely plant-based for me, yes, and for a few of my clients.
Explain why it's advantageous for people to choose a plant-based diet.
For health reasons, and also
because
moods.
we're cattle country, Batswana, and we've been brought up on cattle.
Yeah.
I'm asking you this because now I quit eating meat in 2003, and I quit eating chicken in 2016. So I only eat fish occasionally, maybe once or twice a week. That's it. And
I'm sure your life has been drastically changed because of that.
I think so.
Yeah.
I lost a lot of weight. I was a big guy when I started this.
Yeah.
And in terms of mental clarity, there's no comparison. Yeah.
So
before
yeah,
and after.
it's for me. It's the same with my clients and myself. I'm no longer on depression medication. I feel lighter. I feel happy most of the time, which is very important. And my excuse me, my weight is very manageable, and I don't struggle with feeling sluggish. You know, when you eat a lot of meat, you're always feeling sluggish, always tired. And people think, I know you're tired because you've been working hard. No, you're tired because you've been working hard, but also because of what you've been putting in your body. Yeah.
Now, here in the CBD, we struggle to find, apart from our neighbors here, the Chinese restaurant, we struggle to find healthy green food. What are you doing as a catering service to service this underserved market here in the CBD in places like that?
Let me just say this, that beginning of last year, my business was at its peak. Like I had more clients because people started, especially in the CBD. There's a certain clinic, I forgot the name, around CBD, where I had patients who I had to give food daily from breakfast until dinner. I'll supply them with that. So I tried to do what I could, but as soon as we hit lockdown, I had to close down because now I had to refund my clients, because I have this system where clients subscribe. They subscribe to meals on a daily for a month or two. So some were not impatient enough to let us wait until the lockdown is over, so that
They wanted the refund so they can buy food from somewhere else.
So they wanted that refund, so that I had to refund close to 20 clients. So that really hit me, and I'll say Nkhata,
You are discouraged.
I was very discouraged, but I'm really hoping that one day I'll be able to open a cafe in the CBD, so that I'm able to...
But you've reopened the catering business.
I have, yes.
Okay.
But right now we are mostly doing catering for events.
Okay. Now, tell me how the business model works, because somebody might be listening. I'm certainly listening to find out how I can maybe have some kind of retainer with you, where you bring me food. Yeah.
So this is how it works. You subscribe.
How much? How does it work?
How does it work?
Is it a lot of money?
Yes, it's a lot of money, because healthy eating is not easy.
You
it's
subscribe
not easy,
by
and
paying
it's
how
not
much?
Cheap. I'll say close to 1.8 for a month.
Okay.
Yes, and one other thing is that the prices have drastically changed. So that
gone up or down?
Sorry.
Have they gone up or down?
They've gone up. They have skyrocketed. So even buying cooking oil, you 100 lira goes by just buying.
And we want olive oil.
And
we don't want any
so
oil.
imagine how much olive oil is. It's more than 150. Just a bottle, a small bottle of olive oil. Also, to get most of the things that I need, it's difficult here. The supply is not.
So you're likely to increase the amount to how much?
I'm still thinking about that, looking at the prices, because they're fluctuating. So I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, because I think next year that's when I'll be going back. And
this 1.8, what does it give you? What does it entitle me to?
1 meal per day.
1 meal per day.
And mostly it's lunch.
It's lunch. And that's, or you just bring a packed meal.
Packed meals every day. If that month I make it a little bit of profit, I add a meal, packed meal, and then juice. Okay, that's good. I think you should tell people more about that, because everybody needs, and a lot of people are challenged with diabetes. Yeah. And
if COVID has taught us anything, we need to really boost our immune systems. Is that correct?
True.
And we can only do so by eating healthy. All right. You have another business, and it's called NKATHA Bay Collections.
Yeah.
What is that about?
It's NKATHA Bay Collections.
Yes.
And before I started selling food, I was into fashion. I love style. I love looking good. I love seeing people looking good. I love women who take care of themselves. Like, I love seeing a well-dressed woman who makes effort. I love people who make effort when they wear clothes. So I had a company.
And you can always tell, right? You can always tell if somebody has
I can always tell that I know this one didn't make an effort, and she's not even trying. But yeah, so I ran a company called Nostalgia and Cloth. That's where we were selling the pre-loved clothes. But after running it for a very long time, I closed it down and then started NKATHA collection. This is where I made jewelry, earrings. I've launched my first collection. It's an earring collection. It's called the Malibu Range. I named it after my mom.
Malibu Range.
Yes, her name is Malibu, so I named it Malibu Range. But NKATHA, I named it after a small town where my dad comes from. My dad comes from Malawi. So by naming it NKATHA, I wanted to pay homage to my dad's side of the family, my side of the family. They're from Malawi. And so yeah, that's how I started. I knew I wanted to start a sustainable fashion house. I just didn't know how to go about it. So last year during lockdown, because I was a little depressed from closing the arbitrary.
Let's say the whole world was depressed.
Yes, I
that was my consolation. What's the use of being depressed, right?
Yeah.
What's the use of complaining when it's happened to everybody?
Yeah. So I started working on NKATHA collection. I started making designs for earrings. Right now we only have earrings, but in the next coming 3 to 6 months, I want to add clothes and head wraps. Yeah.
Here's a chance to do a shameless plug. Tell us about the earrings you're wearing. What are they communicating?
Oh, this is from the Malibu Range, and I absolutely love white earrings. I don't know if it's the color but when I made this design, I wanted to make NKATHA map of NKATHA, but hey, it didn't come out nice. So I just decided to go with the round. But this earring presents the town. It's a port town, so it presents that.
Okay.
And the white is just I love white. I love white spaces. I love clean spaces. So the white was just to say, I'm here. I'm wearing white earrings, and I'm sure you could see them
from far.
So yeah, it's just
a bit like cream white from where I'm sitting.
Yes, that cream white. So this is just all the earrings that I've designed. They are just a homage to that small village where my dad comes from. I've never really experienced life there, but I can see that he had a really good life growing up, and I want people to feel good when we're in NKATHA.
And how do you juggle the two businesses? How do you allocate your time and your effort between the two?
I don't know. It works. It just works for me. I'm the main cook at the Avotry. I make the menu. I develop recipes. So I've invested a lot of time into the Avotry because I've been running it for a very long time. So I know it. I know everything about the Avotry.
Since 2012,
Yes, I can run it from my sleep. I know about the accounting part, even though I'm not good in maths, but I know the accounting part of I know the operation side of the business, the marketing side, the cooking, which I really put more and more effort into. So with it, I don't struggle running it. I know you can just call me and say, I'm catering for some people tomorrow. Can you show up? And I'll show up. So with NKATHA, I think this one is just God's grace. I just know what I want to do with it. I've put everything on paper. Some I don't put. Some I'll have dreams about it, and the following morning I'll know what I want to. I don't know how to draw, but I've tried to.
Who does the actual cutting? You've got employees. I mean, you actually do the manufacturing yourself?
I make drawings, and then there's this company in Malawi where I've asked them to do everything for me. But I send in drawings and designs. I just change they just change a little bit, but mostly it's me.
Mm-hmm. Is it difficult running, working with a company which is 2 or 3 countries across Africa?
It is. It's very challenging. It's very challenging. I don't even want to go back to the day when I had to send the designs and they did not understand what was happening because I can't draw. So for me to find someone who can draw, it was a lot of money, and I didn't have that money. So every day I was on the phone with them trying to explain, well, no, there's a line here. This is how I want the colors to go. I want yellow to go.
You couldn't go on Teams or on Zoom.
They're in NKATHA, so it's difficult.
They don't have Wi-Fi.
No, they don't have that. So the best way was through WhatsApp, and it was difficult. Some days there was no network. Some days I could not reach them, and I thought, they've run away with my money. So it was really difficult. But very soon I'll want to travel there and be there throughout the whole process.
Why can't you localize the manufacturing process?
I'm working on that. I'm working on that. It's not easy because to get some of the raw materials here, it's very, very expensive. But I'm working on localizing everything and getting everything made here, especially in my next collection. But
anyway, with the advent of the Africa Continental Trade Agreement, that is a benefit.
It's a benefit
to have those connections or those collaborations across countries.
Yes, true.
So maybe you shouldn't worry too much.
No, I'm not worried too much. I just want to be there throughout the whole process because I'm a perfectionist. I've had this idea for a year or so, but it was difficult for me to put it out there. Even my food, it was difficult to let people taste my food.
Okay. Are there any plans to scale both or either businesses? In other words, to grow them in terms of more employees, bigger numbers?
Definitely.
Share some of those plans.
With the Avotree, I already have about 2 employees that they are part-time because catering gigs come once or twice a month, so they're part-time. But they've been with us ever since we started. So I plan on releasing a cookbook that I've started to work on.
Sounds great.
I don't like rushing my process. So I've been thinking about it for years. This year, that's when I started actively putting effort into making it. And I do want to open a cafe. I want to open a small, little, beautiful cafe where you go and just relax, eat food and relax.
Eat healthy food and relax.
Eat healthy food and then relax. And
I can imagine it with a bit of music in the background.
Yes, and with good lighting.
Somewhere in the center of the CBD, perhaps.
Yeah, and with a nice scent inside. So
Okay. It's doable.
So it's doable. And with NKATHA, I'm looking to expand it into just not being a jewelry-focused house, but adding clothing and other things, but clothing next, yes.
Okay. Now, on the side of the food business, I'll call it the food business, or shall I call it the catering business? What did you say were the biggest setbacks and challenges you've had beyond COVID? Because everybody talks about COVID.
People are not willing to pay. People don't want to pay. People want really good services, but they're not willing to pay for them. People want me to go as little as 60 pula per a plate for someone, but they want to find olives inside my plate or avocados, but want to buy them for 60 pula. But they'll go to a chain restaurant and pay 120 for a meal that I don't even want to describe. So people don't want to pay. People are always complaining. I remember I had to do a catering job for some company. It took 3 months for them to pay me. They paid a deposit.
Even after it was agreed?
Yes, even after that, I had to follow them around. So people don't want to pay. People don't appreciate creatives. People don't respect creatives.
That's been your experience.
Yes.
Okay, so really, but isn't it changing though?
To a certain level, to a certain extent, you'll say it's changing, but not really. People have, I don't know what it is, I don't know how to explain it, but people think it's easy, especially in the food industry. People think, why chicken? They think it's easy. It's not easy running a catering business.
But what I've found is that if you deliver and you deliver consistently, people will eventually pay.
Yes,
people appreciate value.
Yes, and with the Avotree, I've tried to build a community. So right now, I'm sure there's a community that's willing to pay me how I charge. But I've had a really bad experience with some clients. So it has been my greatest challenge in this business has been dealing with difficult clients. Even though I deliver, even though my food is clean, even though I try to be on time, people do not appreciate that. But with my businesses, I try to build them organically and build a community. That way, it's easier.
Are you taking advantage of technology? If so, how?
I am. I am very active on Facebook because that's where
you post your food.
I post my food on my page called the Avotree Good Food and Catering, and I have a page that I just started for Nkhata. But I'm willing to go on to other social media mediums like TikTok and Instagram. I'm on Instagram, even though I'm not really active there, but I'm on Instagram.
Why are you not active? Why can't you be active? Isn't it a matter of just taking a picture of a plate and putting it there with your name?
Sometimes like I said, I'm a perfectionist. I'll cook, and then when I finish cooking, I have to take a picture. It's already dark. I don't like taking. I don't know. I'm still trying to learn how to take best pictures without depending on natural light. So I love posting not perfect pictures, but clear pictures.
Yeah, Instagram, you want them to be really nice. But
Instagram.
Yeah, but if you're like me, you wouldn't worry too much. You wouldn't lose too much sleep.
I worry too much. I worry too much. That's the problem.
Yeah. I think there's an expression. I don't know what you think of it. Is never let perfection be the enemy of progress. Never let perfection be the enemy of progress. Do you agree with that?
I agree, but for a very long time, perfection was my enemy. I think if I was not perfect, I could have been very far right now, business-wise. I did not go on to take
because you
something
can always
else.
improve and become excellent as you go on.
I'm learning that this year. That's the only thing I'm willing to learn this year, because I've struggled with it for a very long time.
I have another expression that I share with the young ones, which is ready, fire, aim. In other words, ready, you fire, then you aim later, but at least you're getting something done. That ties in with the perfection.
Yeah, this year I've really learned that. Just that, whatever it is, just that, and go. You'll figure things out when you're inside.
Yeah.
So
persistence, having grit, determination, persistence, all those beautiful things. How have they featured in your life, and how important is persistence and resilience and perseverance?
Persistence makes the dream work. If I was not persistent enough, I don't think today I'll be here on this chain. Just to give an example. So I just want everybody to know that sometimes your business will not be your source of happiness and stability. And I need people to know that success is not a one shot deal. You have to go through it. You have to keep showing up, even though it's difficult. I think with me, I kept showing up. I kept trying. I kept believing in myself to know that at some point I'll be somewhere. I think people get into businesses thinking that they'll make it. but sometimes it can take 10 or more years for you to be an overnight success.
Yeah.
You know, and with running a business needs persistence, a lot of persistence, and a lot of determination, a lot of hard work, because I think people really believe that you can just get in and appear in the scene and step into a big puddle of success.
Yeah.
Some businesses, yes, but for most of us, no.
Yeah. What in that regard, what has been the one achievement about which you are most proud for these two businesses?
My achievement, I've been able to live my dream of cooking, of seeing joy in people's faces after tasting my food, of seeing people happy after wearing something from NKATHA Bay. So my biggest achievement was starting these two companies.
And saving lives, I guess,
and saving
through the food.
lives. And recently the Avo Tree was in Joburg. So this really taught
Doing
me.
what?
I was catering for a birthday party there. So this taught me that...
and they saw you online? Or
I posted online. I was
and they contacted you from there?
They contacted me, yes, online. So I think this taught me that I shouldn't box myself. I think I boxed myself for a very long time that, my clients are only in Gaborone, only to find out that people in Joburg or other countries who wants my services. So I think that was my biggest achievement. Just starting was my biggest.
Yeah, I think that's a huge achievement. You're active in Joburg, you're active in Malawi, you're active in GAPS.
Yeah.
Already in 3 countries.
So that was my biggest.
To me, and you've been in business, you said 9 years, right?
Yes.
From 2012.
Yeah.
Okay. This one I've already asked before, but it bears repeating. What is the one thing that you think collectively as a people we can do just to hone in on the health message? Because I don't know, COVID has taken some of our loved ones away, and unfortunately the people who are victimized are those who had underlying conditions.
Yeah.
Some of them resulting from life choices which led to... I just want you to revisit this message, because to me that is it's best reiterating the message.
I think as an individual, first, it's very important to love yourself and believe that you are worthy. You are worthy of a joyful, abundant, healthy life. And that's a start. Just telling yourself those things, it's a start. With healthy living, it's not... You don't do it all at once. You change small habits. You take a walk every day. You start with walks. The problem is that people start with, like me, I wasn't active. I wasn't an active person. So I did not start by paying money to go to gym. I started by just walking, taking walks, going around my neighborhood, taking walks. And with eating as well, I ate junk food, a lot of junk food, because I could make junk food. I could make cheesy fries. I could make magwinya. I could make all those things. So it's for this lifestyle, it's one step at a time. You start by taking walks around your neighborhood, then you start by drinking water, saying that, you know what, today I want to drink 5 liters of water. You don't put yourself under a lot of pressure. I think pressure is one thing that discourages us. You'll start only very active, only very committed. After 2 weeks, you're like, you know what, I think I should go back and just eat a little bit of magwinya. After that, you are back to that life of eating junk. So it's one step at a time. Every day you make small changes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's self-love. Love yourself enough to know that you are worthy of this beautiful life. Yeah.
Okay. Who do you admire the most? If you look at businesses and individuals, if you had to say, this is my hero or shiro, and this is where I'd like to see myself?
My parents. My parents.
Okay.
My parents are not really educated, but they've made a lot of impact in our lives. They've changed their lives. They changed our lives. We experienced a lot of beautiful things in life because of them. Even though they are from very poor backgrounds, especially my mom. She made a beautiful life for herself. I'm inspired by that. She didn't get successful overnight, but she kept going. She never gave up. My dad, on the other hand, also did the same with his businesses and with my mother's businesses. So for them, it was a gradual thing for them, one step at a time thing for them. So I admire them so much for their business ethic, especially my father.
What business is he?
He's into property. He's into what else does he do? He runs a pawn shop. So yeah, his business ethic was beautiful. I loved watching him grow because I've seen everything. I've been the first one to witness his wins, his losses, but I think he had so many losses, but he never stopped. My mom, on the other hand, he was in the catering business. She never stopped just because she came back home with food. And now, when I came back with food the first day, hey, I was crushed.
Why?
But because I was like, why are people not buying my food?
But
my mom will come back every day with food, and she won't give in. So I admire their business ethic. I admire their strength. I admire their persistence. I admire that they are very hardworking. They've never given up in life. So those are two people I admire so much.
Okay. Yeah, I guess what I'm pushing you is to, because you said you like people who look after themselves and look beautiful. So I thought there might be people in the beauty industry or in the, the other industry having to do with fashion, who you look up to and you admire.
Who else I admire? I'll say my grandmother from my dad's side. She was a very fashionable person. She loves fashion. She loved fashion. There are people I admire, like here in Botswana, there is Tolodi Gobe. I admire her so much.
What does she do?
She's a fashion stylist. She does so much under fashion, so I admire her so much for that. There's who else? Delina Scott. She's a fashion designer. She's a really, really good fashion designer. And there's Opelo of Le Sweetie Diaries. I think because I've seen her start her business, I've admired her so much. I've admired her persistence, being persistent and hardworking. I've seen that it's possible to actually run a fashion house in Botswana. There are so many, but my first role model in the fashion industry is my grandmother, my late grandmother.
Okay. Wow. All right. Now, I want you to look ahead in terms of the future for these two businesses. What is the future that you envisage, speaking, 10, 15 years down the line? If you had a crystal ball, what would you be seeing?
I want to run sustainable businesses. Even after 10 years or so, I want to still be relevant. I want to still bring in products that are relevant for that time. I don't want. I think for a very long time, my business were very organic. I want that to continue because growing organically builds a certain community of trusted people who believe in you. You believe in yourself, and you have people who believe in you, who are willing to pay whatever to get your services. So for these two businesses, abundance. I want to be joyful. I don't want to be stressed by my businesses. I want to be joyful in 10, 15 years with my business, and I want to live in abundance. I don't have to be extremely rich. I just want a sustainable life and one that I'm comfortable in and I'm happy to be in. I'm happily changing other people's lives. So that's what I want for these two businesses.
Wow. Are there any numbers in terms of how many branches, how many employees, how many divisions?
I think NKATHA will, at some point, will have a branch in Malawi and in Kenya, South Africa and Botswana. That's what I want for Nkhata Bay. That's what I envision for it. And with the Avo-tree, oh my goodness, this business has taught me everything that I know now. And for it, I wanted to grow beyond my wildest imagination, because I think for a very long time I was like, it's fine. I'm not okay with that, because I believe I'm a very talented cook. I'm not a chef, I'm a cook. And
the difference?
Chefs go to school.
No, okay.
Cooks cook from home. Yeah, so I really believe that I can go somewhere further, because I think cooks, we bottle ourselves that we want to go, but you find that chefs want to go beyond the borders. They want to. I know this chef who's a Batswana. I think he's called Joseph Seleto. Yes, I'm glad I remembered his name. I think he's in Holland or something. I'm not sure. I forgot. But I want to see myself there someday, in a different country, running the Avo-tree, having branches all over the country.
So you foresee, do you foresee yourself adopting the franchise model, something similar to Nando's and the like? Or you haven't thought that deep?
No, I don't want the franchise models.
Yeah.
No, I don't want that.
You want.
I don't want that. I want to be able to run with this, because I don't know, I feel if I give it away or sell part of it to someone, then they'll start running it not how I've envisioned it. I know some people have been successful by doing that, but I want to run it myself.
Okay.
If we're in South Africa, I want the Avo-tree to have the same principles and same values. If we're in Malawi, I want us to have that. If we're in Botswana, I want us to have the same thing. I want the same culture for this, and I want you, when you get to the Avo-tree, I want you to get the same ambience, the same feeling that you'll get when you're in Botswana. I think it will be lost down there somewhere.
All right. I think this could be the right time for you to ask that question that you've been getting ready to ask me.
I think I want to know how you've managed to stay relevant. With me, I've known Lerumo Mogobe as a lawyer, law firm. And over the years, I've seen you venturing into other businesses, and recently you've launched this podcast. I mean, I don't want to say this, but I'll say most people who've been in business like you are at a point where they're not willing to explore other things. Or if we know you by being an attorney, that's where it stops. So I want to know how you've been able to reinvent yourself, you know.
I don't think there's a formula. I think it's just been a curiousness about me, a desire to be limitless and to see how far God could take me, or how far God could take my businesses. So I realized early that the legal profession is limiting, because like every profession, you're selling your time for money. So I realized that we need to find other streams of income, and over time create multiple streams of income. So it's been an effort to say, how can I serve in keeping with my motto of inspiring, enthusing, energizing, and empowering others? And how can I impart some of the blessings that I've had, because it's more blessed to give than it is to receive. So it's a work in progress. I don't always win, but I think most times, because of my preparedness to keep trying, there have been more seeming successes than failures, because the failures, we just keep walking, we just keep ignoring them and keep moving forward. So it's just the idea that if something comes to you, you want to experiment with it. So lately, definitely the last 6 years, I've said to myself, I want to start something significant and something new every single year. 2019 was the podcast. 2020 was Angel Network Botswana, where we invest in young startups. This year, maybe I shouldn't reveal it here, but I'm working on something.
Okay.
I don't think I should mention it publicly, but I've discovered I've got something new, something exciting that's keeping me going without losing sight of what got me here. So if you look at other successful serial entrepreneurs, by comparison, I'm just a dot, compared to where they are, which tells me that, I'm just getting started. There's still huge room for improvement and for growth. So I hope I've answered the question.
If I'm to say, that's very inspirational. Thank you for this podcast. I don't think here in Botswana we'll have someone who's been in the business for a very long time wanting to launch a podcast and document young people's lives. So that's very inspirational. Thank you so much.
The honor is all mine. The privilege is all mine. I'd like you to turn to that camera and leave some takeaway, key points, inspirational key points with that viewer as we end our conversation.
I want you to know that you are worthy, you matter, and that you deserve a joyful, abundant life. So I want you to know that healthy living isn't only limited to a certain diet or plan. It's a lifestyle. Every little small change or small step makes a huge difference. It's up to you what kind of difference you want to make in this world. So thank you. I wish you a beautiful life because you deserve it.
Okay. Can you share with them all your contact details, where they can reach you, where they can take advantage of your services as well?
Okay. You can contact me on the Avo Tree through my email address is the Avo Tree Good Food and Catering @gmail.com, and my mobile number is 722-777-04.
Okay.
And you can also find us on Instagram and Facebook.
No LinkedIn?
Huh?
No LinkedIn yet.
I used to have LinkedIn, but I closed it down because I had a few challenges. But
Okay.
yeah, next year I'll go on to LinkedIn and TikTok. So
Okay.
for now, it's just Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. Okay, Mama Moeng, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
You're a great guest.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah.